Good morning to you and happy Monday, just after 7 a.m. Eastern time, and the cold, the sea effect snow and the lake effect snow. That's all of our big stories here at the Weather Network for this week and especially for today. As we look at some of those wind chill values, boy, is it cold today, and it's getting even colder into tomorrow. I'm going to break down this story here. We see this trough moving through along with the northwesterly winds. This is bringing some sea effect snow along to Newfoundland, Cape Breton Island, as well as PEI. Here's a look at some of the totals. Not a huge amount of snow, but enough to get you to shovel if you're in Daniels Harbor. Now let's go out to Halifax, where we join Nathan Coleman. And Nate, tomorrow, -9 in Halifax. Tomorrow is going to be your coldest day of the week. Oh, very cool, Nate. I did not know that. We enjoy your tips throughout the show, so stay with us because Nathan Coleman and his winter photography, yeah, he seems to be an expert, doesn't he? As we look at some of these cold temperatures, it's a story out in the Maritimes. It's a story throughout southern Ontario as well. Notice where it's a lot colder, up into northwestern Ontario. This will start to flood south. We do have extreme cold alerts in place for a lot of areas. I'm going to be shoveling the snow or seeing the blowing snow like that. But in terms of the freezing conditions, oh yeah, they are certainly there. So let's go outside into Newmarket, where we join Mike Arsenault. And Mike, lake effect snow, it's going to be a problem today throughout southern Ontario. And you were saying you saw a little bit of evidence of that already.
Like the prairies.
Oh, for sure. The prairies, extreme cold alerts are in place. And just a hint at how warm it was, a golf game happened in the Niagara region over the weekend. That trend, well, that's come to an end. Well, a very good morning to you, and I'm glad you're making the Weather Network a part of this Monday morning, December the 29th, and it's time for Share Your Weather. And I picked this photo out of Ontario, Cochrane, Ontario, sent in by Chad. We love when you do this. You stick a meter stick into the snow and tell us how much snow is on the ground. So here in Cochrane, Ontario, Chad says 60 centimeters of snow on the gauge, and this is the Polar Bear Rider Trails. He says it's some of the best trails in the world, and the conditions, well, you can see that they are perfect. So Cochrane, Ontario, this is your forecast. If you are out on the snowmobile today, dress for the elements. It is -20, feeling like -30, a mix of sun and cloud. But this sunshine, it's like a fake fireplace. Yeah, it's gonna light up the sky, but it is not gonna warm you up at all. So don't be fooled by the sunshine today. This is the pattern that we're looking at. Cool, cool weather. This is going to start to filter through the prairies into Ontario. Extreme cold alerts are in place. This is not comfortable weather. And as we look at some places, Regina, -29 tomorrow, -29 all the way through to next Monday. Things are going to be cold. This is an extended pattern. Same thing goes here for Winnipeg, the frigid cold. Looking into Ontario, Ottawa, -17 with the wind chill. You get a brief break, but then back to -12. Same thing goes here with Summerside. The cool weather, this is a big story. -20, -22. You really do have to dress for these elements. The above seasonal party, that has for sure come to the end. People were mowing the lawn on Christmas Day, dealing with the rain. This story, that is over. Now, this is our next big story here at the Weather Network. The storm threat for 2015. Chief Meteorologist Chris Scott says models are struggling with the track of next weekend's eastern U.S. Canadian storm. So the north side is going to have some big snow. Will the north side reach up into southern Ontario, into the Maritimes? That is still all to be determined. But I will tell you, this system has sent Las Vegas into a winter storm watch. Very rare for this time of year, and we can see that low. This is starting to develop, and it could be our story into 2015. In Barrie, Ontario, so the active weather, it's going to come. People were golfing in southern Ontario over the weekend in the Niagara region because temperatures were so warm. But a flood of cool weather, that's going to happen. We're breaking down all of those details. As we look at the Great Lakes and some of the ice cover, it is very minimal. We compare it to last year, where 17% of Lake Huron in the Georgian Bay was covered. This year, not even close to that. So that's why lake effect snow is still an issue, and it's in the forecast. Looking at some of the temperatures today, -4 in Toronto, -4 in London. This is this morning. The highs, Mike, they are not very high today, and they are going to be even colder into tomorrow. Oh, absolutely. And the extreme cold alert has been extended now through the prairies. We can see these temperatures, minus 28s, minus 29s. These are all going to come into play as this purple, this very cold air out of the northwest, it continues to sink south. As we look at some of the snow with that lake effect, we could see, well, around 10 centimeters, not too much, widespread around 5. Now, this cold story, it's also an issue out in the Atlantic. Nathan Coleman, on this date, the coldest temperature in Halifax was minus 24. It's not going to get that cold today, but with the wind chill tomorrow, it will feel close to minus 20. Oh yeah, we are going to be seeing that sea effect snow with those winds out of the northwest cooling down temperatures, and also in favor of the development of this 10 to 15 centimeters of snow possible along the western edge of Newfoundland. That's going to be an issue into tomorrow. This extreme cold, it's been extended right across the prairies. It's a big issue in Saskatchewan right now, throughout southern Manitoba, and also into northwestern Ontario. This is because temperatures feel like the minus 40s. Of course, we have all the details right here at the Weather Network. Rachel Schoutsen joining you this morning. Of course, we can talk on Twitter about this cold, about the cold snap, about the incoming storm. This is what some of the temperatures look like this morning. Minus 24 in North Bay. This is a little hint of what the weather is going to start to feel like down into southern Ontario, southwestern Ontario, Niagara region through the next coming days, as this is all going to start to sink south. We can see these purples on the map. This means downright cold. Dangerous cold in some places. We also have this trough in play, and this is going to help produce some lake effect snow. We do have the winds out of the northwest. That's exactly what we need. Quite a bit of fetch here traveling over Superior, Huron, and the Georgian Bay, and the ice cover. That has not happened yet through the Great Lakes. We have had those mild above seasonal temperatures, and unfortunately it still is allowing the setup of seeing some wild weather, some lake effect snow. We know that lake effect snow could bring us some of the biggest snowfalls of the year. This one, well, this is not going to be bringing, let's say, the biggest, but it's enough to bring out the shovel in Kincardine, traveling on the Grey Bruce. That's going to be dangerous. That is not going to be comfortable. And as we look ahead, we can see the lake effect snow, this is an issue, and a new incoming system. Now let's take it outside to Mike Arsenault. And Mike, have you been seeing any lake effect snow this morning?
Back
oh, that's you, okay, Mike. I'm also a weather wimp. More on that cold. Well, that's all coming up. Glad you're here with us this morning. It's December the 29th, and we are bracing for winter. Yeah, it has been above seasonal. A lot of people have been enjoying it. People were out golfing this weekend. They were mowing the grass on Christmas Day. But this flood of extreme cold will continue to move further east. Across the prairies right now, there are extreme cold alerts in place. And places like Newfoundland, well, it's fairly comfortable today. Things are going to be getting a lot colder into tomorrow. Tonight is when the temperatures will take a sharp dip throughout Ontario, Quebec, and right through the Maritimes and into Newfoundland. Now, you also see these snow icons, and that's because we do have favorable conditions for the development of some sea effect snow. So we see these winds coming out of the northwest. We also have a trough in play as well, and this will continue the development of snow today and into tomorrow. So this means places along the western edge of Newfoundland, like Daniels Harbour, you could see 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. This is going to be more a story into Tuesday. Let's show you this now. With a vengeance in some places. That extreme wind was making some places feel like the minus 20s. Across the prairies, feels like the minus 40s. Extreme cold. This is what to think about when we talk about our top weather stories this week. Throughout southern Ontario, with the wind chill, feels like minus 10 in the city of Toronto. And Mike Arsenault, I know you're a big sports fan. People in the Niagara region submitted a photo this weekend, upload.theweathernetwork.com, of them golfing in Niagara on December the 27th. What a big difference with this cold snap. You're right. We are in this pattern now. I'm happy. I went out for 2 jogs over the weekend because the conditions were amazing. This, yeah, I wouldn't be jogging in weather like this. Feeling like minus 34 in Thunder Bay, minus 35 in Geraldton. Dryden, minus 40. It is extremely cold. You do not have to be a weather wimp to complain about these temperatures.
Thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Nicole Karkig alongside Rachel Schoutsen with you this morning. And as we look across the country, cold is our big story, plus some snow.
Yes, when we talk about cold, this is a big pattern change. On Christmas Day, people were mowing the lawn. Now, temperatures with the wind chills, -40s. That's what it's going to feel like.
We're picking up 10 to 15 centimeters on the western shores of Newfoundland, under 5 centimeters for you in St. John. So hopefully for Christmas, you got a shovel, because after mowing the lawn, you're going to need it into this week.
And into Ontario, also seeing some lake effect snow. That's going to be firing up today off Superior, Georgian Bay, Huron as well, with those strong northwest winds. So quite a bit of fetch. So we could be seeing, again, quite a bit of snow places like King Carden, but widespread. 10 centimeters.
Exactly. And this could even reach into the Greater Toronto region, so a light dusting on the ground beginning tonight. Not a big hazard, but after we have such a dry stretch and a mild stretch, it might come to a surprise for some.
Yeah, learning how to shovel again. I'm sure that's what a lot of people are going to have to do. So we can see some of the sea effect, and then we do have that Hudson Bay low that will move by, but we're talking about the 2015 storm threat.
Exactly, and it does look like right now the models are not completely agreeing. So into Saturday, we will be definitely seeing a system into the Maritime provinces, but right now it is staying south, not impacting southern Ontario at this point as we head into 2015, but we'll keep an eye on it for you.
And Monday morning lows. This, Nicole, I'm not ready for this. -41. That's what it felt like in Prince Albert.
I know. And again, this morning, temperatures looking pretty similar to this. We could be seeing some record-breaking lows for you today. And that cold air, when you see purples on our map, you know it's cold, and it is sticking around, Rachel, for this week, with the exception of Alberta getting a slight warm-up.
All right, so the freezing cold, we have more on that story, plus the 2015 storm threat. Don't go anywhere. We got you right here at the Weather Network. East. Thanks, Beverly, for that video. We love your submissions. You can upload photos and videos to upload.theweathernetwork.com. We like to share them. Okay, good morning. It's December the 29th, and wind chills, they are a big issue right now through the prairies, stretching into northwestern Ontario, and now they are starting to be an issue across the prairies into Newfoundland. Things are going to get even colder into tomorrow. See this trough here? This trough, accompanied by winds out of the northwest, this is going to produce some sea effect snow along the western edge of Newfoundland, also through Cape Breton Island, PEI. You'll all be getting into the mix. And this is how much snow you could see. The 10 to 15 centimeters, this is going to be more story in through till Tuesday, but we could see 5 to 10 along Cape Breton, less than 5 throughout PEI. Conditions with the strong winds, the blowing snow. Yeah, things are a little tricky there now, aren't they? As we look at some of our temperatures throughout southern Ontario, -4 in Toronto, -4 in London. That's this morning. Warming up slightly into the afternoon, but notice where all that cold is, -16 up into North Bay. We do have some extreme cold alerts in place, and this is all going to continue to push east, and yeah, it's going to affect you throughout southern Ontario. Cottage country, you're included in that as well. We can see the trough move through here. Again, similar story as to what's happening in Newfoundland, accompanied by those winds out of the northwest that is helping to produce some lake effect snow. And when we think about the Great Lakes at the end of December, well, a lot of them usually are starting to see a good amount of ice cover, but not this year. With the mild temperatures we've seen, barely any of Superior is covered in snow. In ice, rather. Now, covered in snow, that's Mike Arsenault. He'll go out to you right now. And Mike, the lake effect engine, it's sure fired up, isn't it? Oh, it is. We see the cold across the prairies, and for you it's -40s. In southern Ontario, it's more -10s, but Mike's right in through till next year, which is just a few days away, we will continue to feel this cold. The extreme cold warnings, they are still in play throughout southern Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, stretching up in towards northwestern Ontario as well. These warnings get put into place when things start to feel like the -40s. Those are the kind of temperatures you're feeling right now. High pressure is in place. You'll see the sunshine, but that's not warming you up. Not even a little bit. A very good morning to you. It is an active morning right across the country, whether you're dealing with snow, some lake effect, some sea effect, or the freezing cold. As we look at some of the ice cover through the Great Lakes, not too much this year because conditions have been so mild. So this means the development of lake effect snow, it's still favorable. We're still going to see it today along the Georgian Bay, down towards Barrie, even through to Newmarket. We'll show you what Newmarket looks like in just a second. As we head up to the north, the extreme cold, that's your issue. Now let's go outside to Mike Arsenault. And Mike, the lake effect engine, it has started. Tell us about the conditions.
That's right, Rachel. Very light flurries early this morning. We have a GO train passing by us right now. A lot of people headed toward the city of Toronto for work. That's a great way to commute, especially as we're dealing with the lake effect snow.
Oh, I didn't know that. Fun facts. Mike Arsenault is always good for them on the morning shows. Now, as we jump back into our weather story, these purples, this is not what you want to see in the forecast. This is cold weather, yes, which I know we can all expect in December, but this is extreme cold. This, in some cases, is dangerous cold, and that's why alerts are in place right now across the prairies up and towards northwestern Ontario. Paired with the cold, winds out of the northwest, traveling across the Great Lakes, well, that's a good setup to see some lake effect. Just like what was falling on Mike Arsenault's head there, yeah, the lake effect snow is going to be an issue. And it has quite a bit of fetch as it travels across Superior, Huron, the Georgian Bay, quite a bit of distance that wind has to travel over relatively warm water, not ice covered. No, not this year. So again, this is why we could see around 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Kincardine, 10 plus centimeters, and this is going to be the issue today and into tomorrow. Same sort of situation happening out in the Maritime provinces as well. Winds out of the northwest. We do have a trough that's moving through in towards Newfoundland, and sea effect snow. That is going to be an element in your weather story today. Wind chills will come into play and the temperatures are going to drop. Tonight, overnight, that's the big drop in temperatures. Recapping some of the sea effect. 10 to 15 centimeters along the western edge of Newfoundland. PEI is going to get a little taste as well. No, but the snow did fall just a few days late. You are getting into the snow. And also, I had some people tweeting me saying that the winds were actually relatively calm along the Avalon, which, well, isn't too common for this time of year. So as we recap our weather story here, not so much weather you can see, but weather you can feel, especially right across the prairies where extreme cold alerts are in place. It is dangerously cold. We have the lake effect engine that's fired up in the Great Lakes and sea effect snow for Newfoundland.
Hey.
Well, if you are getting away and going on vacation this week, it is going to be a treat. And I'm going to say, when we look at our Canadian weather this week, you have picked a great time to go to Puerto Vallarta at 31 degrees, sunshine right across the board, Punta Cana at 29. Temperatures in Canada are going to be extremely cold this week, so pack up your stuff and get ready to be in a lot of sunshine in Nassau at 29. Have a great vacation. We are tracking in that video. Gorgeous shot there, eh, Jacqueline?
Gorgeous shot. It just made, you know this story, so I'm looking at the water there. So last night, I think I told you my dog, I'm just looking at Nuka the dog. My dog jumped in the bathtub with me. I just said that on national TV, but
crazy.
Dogs can be funny, eh?
So you had a wild night last night.
I had a wild night, yep. I guess she was cold, wanted to go to the bathtub.
That's funny. As we look at our weather story, you may want to take a warm bath too, because these are the temperatures we're looking at. And notice up to the north how much cooler it is compared to the south. This is just a sign of what's to come.
Absolutely, and you know, everybody's going to get a taste of this, especially by New Year's Eve, so make sure you, whatever you're wearing, because us girls, we always want to be in nice sparkly dresses, make sure you have a warm coat to go over that sparkly
dress. Make a smart decision.
That's right. So this morning you see these temperatures, colder temperatures really flooding into the St. Lawrence and right to the East Coast.
Yeah, and this trough here, it's actually going to help enhance some of the sea effect snow. When we talk about this, well, this is where we could see 10 to 15 centimeters, places like Daniels Harbor. This is going to be a bigger story in through Thursday. That's when you'll start to see those accumulations, possibly 15. And Jacqueline, this morning on the morning show, Nathan Coleman joined us. He was out in Halifax, so they're bracing again for some of the colder temperatures. He had some photography tips for us, some winter photography.
I have to link up with Nate because
yeah,
I got a new camera for Christmas, so I have to find out some of these tips.
Yes.
In the car, which is always difficult to shoot, you know, and get a good shot in the car. But either way, if you're up north, that's what you're seeing, some snow. We're going to see some snow along the typical snowbelt regions, so Lake Huron. And if you're going out to do some photography, it'll probably look beautiful.
Yeah. We were also recapping on the morning show how the Great Lakes really are not seeing a lot of ice cover at all. So that is still very favorable to see those lake effect conditions.
Absolutely, and right into the new year. And then we also talked to Tyler Hamilton, one of our meteorologists behind the scenes. Could this be moderating our temperatures as this cold air, you know, moves in? Are we going to, maybe not get as cold as, say, the East Coast or even the West because of the Great Lakes?
Very interesting. So if you look at a place like Sudbury, well, the cold, we said no one's escaping it. You in Sudbury, minus 22 into next week as well. So this is not a short-term pattern. Unfortunately, it looks to be a long-term stretch, and we do have alerts in place.
That's right. We used to have wind chill warnings. Norma Leslie, you know all about what minus 40 feels like.
Oh, goodness. Well, I will leave you now. Jacqueline Whittle will be taking over the show, and of course, all the details into BC, they are all to come right here at the Weather Network.
That's right. A happy Monday to everyone.
Don't go anywhere. Today on the morning show, the dangerous cold across the prairies. That was the top story. And as this moves further east, well, Nathan Coleman had this to say.
Tomorrow, it will be the major dip, but you gotta look at it this way. If you got a new winter jacket, a new Christmas sweater, toque, or gloves, you can use them finally.
And with the lack of ice cover on the Great Lakes, lake effect snow was an issue today, so Mike Arsenault captured the scene.
And the snow isn't just disappearing on contact, it's starting to collect on the roads because it is so cold.
And we also brought you updates on the missing Air Asia flight. The search continues in the Java Sea. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.
Look how cute that is. That's adorable. Wow. I don't know if I've ever seen it. Our whole newsroom's laughing at that one. That was really cute.